So, creative process for photographers. To me, I feel like I'm cheating it because there's so many different people that help and contribute to what goes into a photo shoot. So, for my professional work, it's a lot different than just fine art or doing things on your own, shooting trees, kids. There's publicists. They're difficult. There are, you have to get hair and makeup. You've got to get location. You've got to get styling. You got all these things that you kind of got to piggyback, and then other people tell you what to do, and then you got to go, wait, but what if I don't like that? Then they go, oh, you'll like it. It'll be good. And you're like, no, it sucks. It's never going to be good. This is horrible. We have, someone like Hilary Swank, and you want to put her in a tutu? It's not going to work. So, I thought that it would be interesting to talk about, just pick 3 shoots, talk about different situations, and what I had to do to come up with them. Because sometimes people are always like, well, you're this big professional photographer. You must have all these assistants, and you don't have to do anything anymore. And it's like, it's quite the opposite, because I found that if you don't really do it yourself and be really hands-on with everything that you do, you let other people dictate what you want them to see, which is part of my creative process. Is when you work with a celebrity, you want them to like what you're doing. You want them to feel good about being there and not like, all right, how long are we going to be here? I got to get this over with. Obviously, they've probably shot with every major photographer in the world. So what are you going to do to stand out? How are you going to make it like catch their attention? And to me, that's kind of the hardest part of the creative process, because I'm never satisfied, and I always think that things aren't as good enough, or they could be better. So it's kind of tricky. But then, there's the other side of it when you work with someone that's really brilliant, and they do help you, and the shoot ends up becoming unbelievable. You get all the credit, and everyone thinks you did. And I'm like, yeah, that idea. I listened to what they said and did it. Honestly, it's like I feel like I'm cheating them, because at the end of the day, you look, you see a picture you like. First thing you do is, who shot it? I'm like, God, that guy's a genius. I didn't have anything. That's the day you showed up and just pushed the button. So the first one is Hilary Swank. We, a lot of these celebrities, and what most of my work is doing a shoot to promote a film they're doing. And they do millions of shoots. So this one was with a magazine that didn't have a big budget, but you still got Hilary Swank. So it's like, what do? You know what I mean? It's like, especially younger photographers and people who are starting, just because you don't have a big budget doesn't mean that you can't make it look like a big budget. So with the Hilary Swank shoot, it was one of those ones I said, well, she's such an entity, right? So keep the focus really about her. And let's really bring out, the beauty in her. She was doing a movie called New Year's Eve. So I said, well, that's the easiest thing in the world. Balloons, confetti, anything to do with kind of New Year's Eve that you can get anywhere. So I went out with my assistant. We bought a balloon. We bought some confetti. And I went to Home Depot, and I think for like $50, just got a white shag carpet, slid it up against the wall in the studio, and then used one light. So what we did, so this ended up being the cover. Simple. But look, it's her. You know what I mean? So when you rely on your subject, it's a lot easier to become creative, because they're going to do 50% of the work for you. But the lighting is kind of awesome. The balloon. You know what I mean? It's like, how many times have you seen a shot with a balloon? There's the little girl. There's the homeless guy. You know what I mean? So but if you look at her, it's like, it's pretty simple. You could take the balloon away. You could take the dress away. You could take everything. It's still just about her. But just like, when Dexter was talking about evoking emotions and doing stuff like that, I find in photography that it's pretty similar. You kind of get the feeling. Sometimes you've got 5 minutes to get into someone's head. 5 minutes to say, or are they on my side today, or do they want to just get the hell out of here? You know what I mean? And you've got to decide, and if it's the latter, how do I get them to stay? How do I get them to be like, look, stand there and hold the balloon and just don't do anything? Do you know what I mean? That's what I told her on this shot. You know, because it can get real cheeky quick, you know. You don't want that. Somebody just stand there and you look amazing. Just don't move. And I told her something different in this one, but you get the point. You know, I mean, just a rug, and it's against the studio wall. You know what I mean? Simple stuff. Sometimes, especially working with Herb, I find that the best way to get your idea across is to let them do almost all the work for you. Because you already know your lighting. You already know how to use a camera. Do you know what I mean? Those things are irrelevant. It's like people are like, you know, oh, button pushers. It's like button pushers are not, they're just as brilliant as everyone else because you don't have to prove to people when you go in there. She doesn't care if I know what F2 is or what shutter speed we're using. All she cares about is looking like that. Just a little holiday mask. So it's this story for about $500 became this huge 7 to 8 page story with a cover that to me it looked like $1 million. But again, the creative process, you have to, you know, implementing them, getting these things in, letting the actress, you know, work off it as well. By midway through the shoot, well, we did have some champagne, but it was New Year's Eve. But letting her kind of also run the show. I don't have to take credit. I'm not in it to be, you know, like, oh, look how awesome I am. I got to prove it to her and this and that. It's the good time, and then all that stuff follows for me. So, you know, the main point is that don't be afraid to let other people, you know, join in on the creativity. You know what I mean? You're going to get credit for it anyway, so just think of the best thing. Like, you know, what they do is so different because they really are brilliant. I mean, that trailer was amazing. You know, the action's amazing. Like, that's way different. That's why I feel like, for me, I get more help than just using this. So it's great. But you have to have both, and you have to know what's good, and you have to know, you know, a little bit about it. But so Matthew Fox, this shoot was way more difficult. We were supposed to shoot in a studio in LA. He had just got done with Lost. He went to Bend, Oregon, and 2 days before the shoot, I found out he's not coming to LA. We have to come there. I don't know if you've ever been to Bend, Oregon, but there's not much at all. So we right away were freaking out. Like, okay, wait. So let's call a studio there. Let's book a studio. My agent's like, well, they don't have studios. Okay, well, let's book a hotel with a big ballroom, and we'll make a studio. Yeah, they don't have equipment there at all. So I'm like, oh, that's good. Okay, so now the creative process gets real interesting. So what do we do now to make this shoot happen? Well, we fly assistants in from Oregon, drive up all the equipment, try to find a place. But mind you, we don't have time. So long story short, because I'm running out of time, he emails me and he's like, look, I got to go fill my plane up with gas, this and that. What time are we starting? I said, whoa, plane? What plane? Yeah, I have a plane. I have a big hangar. I keep my plane there, this and that. And I was like, well, there we go. We just shoot. Now change the creative process. Let's shoot on location. Shoot at your plane, you know what I mean? Where is it? So we all ended up going there. A lot better than the studio, huh? See, that was a gift. It wasn't, I didn't think like, you know, it'd be awesome if you were like freaking James Bond and just came. Just do it twice. We got this. And he's a real pilot. He doesn't have a safety helmet, but his car, I hate this guy. Okay, I'm pretty hilarious, as you can see. Okay, last one real quick, and I'm going to do this one really quick, is the luxury of being at a location where you live, okay? We had 3 prep days. I went, scouted the location. We had to measure light. We were shooting on the beach. I knew exactly what shots to compose, what they were going to be. All I needed was the subject. and then pick the outfit. So that is awesome. So this one, we add a bit more. But my point is that if you look at these without me saying anything, the feeling that I would hope that you'd get is they're all equal. But in preparation and the way they came about and the creative process, if you will, are completely different. Some are handed to you. Some you have to use a little more thought. Some, you know, are easy. This happened to be at the location. And I'm like, oh, we need a top hat and do something really cool. And then we did. This one was interesting. Right after I dropped the $60,000 digital back in the ocean, the tide, we misjudged a bit. And I surf, so I should know this, but this wasn't in the water. And I'm standing on a slippery rock, probably about from here to the chair, and I hear this wave, and I'm like, oh, snap. And my systems are like, wave! So I'm expecting, you know, the back of the knees all the way up here. Slipped off the rock, had the camera up, then the last second just dropped it. But I think that was worth it. That's a $100,000 shot. And it was disgusting. All in the back, see those little things? Those are flies. It was like a swarm of flies lived in there. When that wave hit, they all attacked her. And then here's a nice, easy way just to use the ocean. If I learned anything from Herb, it's get a girl on the beach and just let her have fun. Chase her around, shoot. It seemed to work out all right. So at the end of the day, the creative process, it's so vague for me. It's like I show these to some people and they're like, boring, girl on the beach, seen it before, da-da-da. But then, you know, I love it. So what you love isn't necessarily going to be I love. The best advice I ever got was like, dude, people are going to hate your shit, but keep doing it. As long as you're happy with what you do, nobody can tell you you're right or wrong. And if they do, guess what? Hey, no, you're wrong. Not me. Thank you.